we've got a report of up to 40 migrants in 2 separate vans here. This is Old Cutler Road northbound here near Kendall Drive. We've got Coral Gables police on scene, and we're getting word that possibly 40 Chinese migrants have pretty much been pulled over in these vans. You can see through the trees here that the migrants are sitting down. Everything's pretty much under control. Everybody's being good. But once again, the 40 folks in 2 separate vans. Those vans must have been jam-packed right here in Coral Gables.
Salgan con las manos arriba, por favor. Les queremos ayudar, escuchan. You got it. Coming. Manos en la cabeza, ¿ok?
It's okay. It's okay.
Está bien.
Sorry.
50.
Trump is really doing this shit, guys. God bless you guys. Oh my gosh.
Mexico cannot cope. Not sure any country can, but Mexico can't cope with like a sudden influx of millions of people. I mean, as much as she wants to embrace them, to use her word, when they come back and make them feel welcome, it all sounds very nice when you're listening to it, but the reality of that is just completely unsustainable.
I view it as a tax cut.
I want to speak directly to people who are undocumented. We love you. We care about you. In the city of Minneapolis, we will stand up for you.
Fuck these people.
We got to do more. We got to open that aperture up, which we're going to do. It was a great start. The first week was unprecedented. I mean, the illegal crossings on the border one day was like 540. I've never seen that, and I started on board until 1984. And we went from 10,000 a day to under 600. So it's great, it's good, but we're not finished, and we need more deportations.
Back out here in Sunland Park, New Mexico, and by the grace of God, guys, we are on top of the mountain pretty much, and this has huge symbolism. The agents and the National Guard have taken back this hill, this part of the border wall, this part of the border that at some point was very much controlled and ran by the other side.
I'm afraid to be deported. I can't go back to Nicaragua. I got into a bad fight back in 2018 where I was shot at, and I'm afraid to return.
Oh, I'm gonna lose my job just because I'm dangerously unqualified.
The Department of Agriculture says that between 2020 and 2022, 42% of crop workers were undocumented immigrants. And in many cases, as you know, these migrants do jobs many Americans do not want to do. So, how does President Trump make sure that the effort to deport people who are not in this country legally doesn't end up hurting Americans who want safe borders, absolutely, but also don't want to see even more higher prices in groceries?
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's not your position, Jake, you're just asking the question, that we should supply America's food with exploitative illegal alien labor. I obviously don't think that's what you're implying. Only 1% of alien workers in the entire country work in agriculture. The top destination for illegal aliens are large cities like New York, like Los Angeles. The illegal aliens that Joe Biden brought into our country are not full stop doing farm work. They are not. The illegal aliens he brought in from Venezuela, from Haiti, from Nicaragua, they are not doing farm work. They are in our cities collecting welfare. As for the farmers, there is a guest worker program that President Trump supports. Over time as well, we will transition into automation, so we'll never have to have this conversation ever again. But there's no universe in which this nation is going to allow the previous president to flood our nation with millions and millions of illegal aliens who just get to stay here. And we are especially not going to allow a subset of those illegal aliens to rape and murder our citizens. So we are going to unapologetically enforce our immigration laws, and as I'm sure you will celebrate, we are going to unleash the power and might of the U.S. government to eradicate the presence of transnational threats on our soil.
It's an honor to be here with all of you. The Trump White House will speak to all media outlets and personalities. This White House believes strongly in the First Amendment. Since you brought up TruthSeek, I would like to point out While I vow to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation.
You just give us a sense, how long is this temporary pause on federal funding? How long is this pause going to last?
Well, the terms of the executive order is 90 days, but it's important to understand that it's a review process to say that there's, for discretionary spending that's not directed by Congress or required by law. So this would be, for example, something like a contract to a non-governmental organization to teach, say, critical race theory, that there has to be a politically appointed individual in the departments or agencies who simply reviews and approves the expenditure, so that we have control, democratic control over the operations of government. This doesn't affect any federal programs that Americans rely on, full stop.
It doesn't, it's not going to have any impact on any Americans and what they rely on?
In any program, like a benefit program that Americans rely on.
Like Meals on Wheels?
Correct. There's no, the OMB guidance document, which I think you're referring to, because the executive order was issued a week ago, it just gives clarity on how to implement the original executive order, which doesn't cover any entitlement or public benefit spending at all. And that's clear, by the way, if you read, as I'm sure you have, the OMB guidance document.
On a substantive question, yesterday, the White House Office of Management and Budget directed across the board freeze, with some exceptions for individual assistance, we understand, to federal grants. It's caused a lot of confusion around the country among Head Start providers, among providers services to homeless veterans, Medicaid providers, states saying they're having trouble accessing the portal. Could you help us clear up some of the confusion, give some certainty to folks, and also, is that uncertainty, how does that uncertainty service the president's voters?
Well, I think there's only uncertainty in this room amongst the media. There's no uncertainty in this building. So let me provide the certainty and the clarity that all of you need. This is not a blanket pause on federal assistance and grant programs from the Trump administration. Individual assistance, that includes, I'm not naming everything that's included, but just to give you a few examples, Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this pause. And I want to make that very clear to any Americans who are watching at home who may be a little bit confused about some of the media reporting. This administration, if you are receiving individual assistance from the federal government, you will still continue to receive that. So what does this pause mean? It means no more funding for illegal DEI programs. It means no more funding for the Green New scam that has cost American taxpayers tens of billions of dollars. It means no more funding for transgenderism and wokeness across our federal bureaucracy and agencies. No more funding for Green New Deal social engineering policies. Again, people who are receiving individual assistance, you will continue to receive that. And President Trump is looking out for you by issuing this pause because he is being good steward of your taxpayer dollars.
Thanks, Caroline.
Sure.
How long is this pause going to last, and how is the Trump administration recommending that organizations that rely on federal funding make payroll, pay their rent in the meantime?
It is a temporary pause, and the Office of Management and Budget is reviewing the federal funding that has been going out the door. Again, not for individual assistance, but for all of these other programs that I mentioned. I also spoke with the incoming director of OMB this morning, and he told me to tell all of you that the line to his office is open for other federal government agencies across the board, and if they feel that programs are necessary and in line with the president's agenda, then the Office of Management and Budget will review those policies.
This pause with so little notice. Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding, at least for a period of time?
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working. And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. You know, just during this pause, DOJ and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars.
And so this doesn't
Jennifer.
affect Meals on Wheels or Head Start or disaster aid?
Again, it does not affect individual assistance that's going to Americans.
To follow up on Nancy, do you think there will be a list of who is affected and how much money is affected? How will these contractors and organizations know if they are actually having their funding frozen? And then secondly, if you're willing, can you just clarify, is the end goal of this to essentially challenge Congress or to prove that the president can withhold federal funding? In other words, is this an attempt to pick a fight to prove that he can do this?
No, absolutely not. As it says right here in the memo, which I have, and I'd encourage all of you to read it, it says the American people elected President Trump to be the president of the United States and gave him a mandate to increase the impact of every federal dollar. This memo requires federal agencies to identify and review all federal financial assistance programs and supporting activities consistent with the president's policies and requirements. The American people gave President Trump an overwhelming mandate on November 5th, and he's just trying to ensure that the tax money going out the door in this very bankrupt city actually aligns with the will and the priorities of the American people.
HEAP right now, that's the low-income heating program, for example. We can talk about, there's no clarity, so I could refer to a lot of them. We don't know what they are specifically. Can you tell us that LHEAP, that LIHEAP is not one of those affected?
So you're asking a hypothetical based on programs that you can't even identify.
Identified.
What I can tell you
just
is that
clear, since you guys haven't identified, let's do it together just for Americans at home. Medicaid, is that affected?
I gave you a list of examples: Social Security, Medicare, welfare benefits, food stamps that will not be impacted by this federal pause. I can get you the full list after this briefing from the Office of Management and Budget.
Some of the confusion, I think, may be here with this pause on federal funding. You've made it clear you're not stopping funds that go directly to individuals, but there certainly are lots of organizations that receive funding and then may pass along a benefit. Meals on Wheels, for one. They provide meals for over 2.2 million seniors. What is the president's message to Americans out there, many of whom supported him and voted for him, who are concerned that this is going to impact them directly, even if, as you said, the funding isn't coming directly to their wallet?
I have now been asked and answered this question 4 times. To individuals at home who receive direct assistance from the federal government, you will not be impacted by this federal freeze. In fact, OMB just sent out a memo to Capitol Hill with Q&A to clarify some of the questions and the answers that all of you are asking me right now. Again, direct assistance will not be impacted. I've been asked and answered about this OMB memo. There's many other topics of the day. Jackie Heinrich.
There's 2 million employees in the federal government. Overwhelmingly, the career federal service in this country is far left, left-wing.
I don't know that to be a fact.
Well, I'll give you a great example. We looked at USAID as an example.
That's
98% of the workforce either donated to Kamala Harris or another left-wing candidate, just as an example.
Okay, but
let me just
an entire workforce is having a
whoa. Did you just say that saying someone voted for Kamala Harris is demonizing them?
No.
So according
your suggestion is that there's a bias.
No. But you used the word demonizing. You just said that I'm demonizing somebody by saying they voted for Kamala Harris.
Let's get back on track.
But I am on track.
Okay.
Let me stay on track. What I'm saying to you is this: there are 2 million employees in the federal government.
Right.
They're overwhelmingly left of center. The American people, I got to finish the sentence.
Okay.
I got to finish the sentence. The American people voted for dramatic change implemented by Donald Trump.
They were let out and called heroes. Are they heroes?
Well, I wouldn't say that anybody
Right,
beats up a
they're
cop
not.
as a hero.
Thank you.
I just want to give a comparison to the audience, the way I'm
You're
reacting
the
right now
embodiment.
and the way you're acting. Why are you so upset?
Here's why.
Let me ask you something,
Because
Anthony.
I don't have Donald Trump in front of me.
Enough of this.
I don't have Donald Trump in front of me. I have you in front of me.
Did you ever react this way after the summer of 2020 and the way cities were burned to the ground? Police officers were killed. People were killed.
Do you want to
Did
do
you
that?
ever react this way?
Do you
I
want
wanna
to
know.
do?
I want to know.
Did
Probably
anyone
not.
ever call them a hero?
How many of those people? Oh, yes, they did.
Did my
Yes,
president?
they did. Your vice president raised money for that. The reason you care about January 6th is because it happened in your precious U.S. capital. How about a police precinct being burned to the ground in Seattle?
It is not even what we're talking about right now.
see.
You know why you want to change
you don't
the
like
subject?
the equivalency.
You don't like the
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
I always wondered how worms score.
And then after that, you're able to just go right in.
But why can't I just go now?
That's just my order, sir.
How long is the orange pass thing?
I got to. I'm not sure if there's an expiration date or anything.
No, but there's a line.
I fully understand that, sir, but there's rules and protocols we got to follow.
So it's January 27th.
Yes, sir.
I haven't been able to get to my house
Yes, sir.
for 20 days.
I fully understand that.
And it's right down there. It's about 1 minute over there.
Yes, sir.
And here's my address.
Yeah, I fully understand that.
So you want me to go wait in line for 2 hours?
Sir, there's
That's
not
what
much I
they're
can do.
told. That's what we're told to advise, sir. You have to go down to where he's telling you, to zone 3, and then you get the pass. Once you get the pass, you're able to come up.
But there's like a mile wait to get into zone 3.
I understand, because there's all the people that are trying to get the passes. But
Right.
that's what in order for you to get by, past this checkpoint, you need to get that pass.
Right, but President Trump and Mayor Bass said that we could go.
Trust me, I understand. I'm just telling you what we were advised by our command
Okay.
posts. They're telling you the same thing. They were
Yeah,
advised by
I'm
their
not giving you
command
guys a hard
posts.
time.
No, I know.
And I appreciate your service.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. And we greatly appreciate it. But that's unfortunately one of the things that you have to do.
Okay,
Is go
so-
get a pass.
So I'm back, and it's now January 27th at 9:50 in the morning, and I have to go wait in a multi-hour, probably 5-hour line to get a pass to go to my house.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for your service.
I wish you the best, okay?
Thank you. My house is about 1 minute ahead.
Court documents reveal the person police arrested with 2 potential explosive devices outside the U.S. Capitol is from Massachusetts. Those same documents also say the person told officers they wanted to kill members of the Trump administration. Prosecutors say the suspect, Ryan English, intended to target Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. They also say English threatened Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and House Speaker Mike Johnson. Police say English told them that they had knives and Molotov cocktails on them when they walked up to the Capitol yesterday. They told officers, quote, "I'd like to turn myself